Well, thank you for keeping it on Sika Sports. We are still in the United States of America, where we are covering the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. By the time you're watching us, probably the round of 16 is already underway. But we are here to talk about the group stages, how different teams are performed on, how different teams from different parts of the world are performed, and how far we think some of the teams will go. Clive Chaze is my name, and if you are yet not a subscriber on this channel, we encourage you to subscribe. But let's grow our audience together, because we have nothing but the best lined up for you. Now, I do have a guest, and he is my first guest here in the USA. If you do follow us on our different social media platforms, probably you've already seen him trying to share his insights. And yes, he is, I should say, the first foreign guest we are having on the channel, Alexandria Akuhunyas. I don't know if I've pronounced it well.
You did fine.
Well, Alexandra here is from Brazil, but he lives and works in New York, New Jersey, to be precise. He is a big fan of Atletico Mineiro. Unfortunately, they are not at this competition, but 4 Brazilian teams are still part of the competition. But Alexandra, thank you for allowing to talk to us.
This pleasure is all mine, and it's always great satisfaction that we are here to discuss the magic of football.
For how long have you lived in the US?
43 years.
43 years.
43 years.
Meaning you were also part of that experience way back in 1994 when Brazil won their 4th World Cup.
Yes, I was here already, and I enjoyed. As a matter of fact, I was living in New York.
Okay.
And I enjoyed very much. It was a very good time for America. Was the first real contact with the
football.
because it was both coast to coast, and all the fans, they were really engaged, because it touched everybody in a positive way of believing that they could, be part of that celebration. And so it was special, and that's why there's a great excitement here in America now, that throughout the years they developed more. The MLS became much stronger with good teams, good players. Inter Miami has Messi and Suarez. LA Galaxy put up a very good team in the West Coast. Here in the East Coast, we have the Red Bulls with a beautiful stadium in Harrison, next to New York City, next to MetLife, where it's going to be the final of the World Cup next year, and the Cup of this year. So that's a great engagement, and the people are very excited.
Yeah, but I mean, you talk about 31 years ago when we had that World Cup. How much improvement or development has football or soccer in the US made up to today?
Well, there is no question about back. The way that they developed the plan, the business plan of what they call soccer here, but football, they brought the best experts from England and Europe, to implement here. So first, the way that things were done, first they implemented the laws that govern, the rules of the management itself. To make sure that things were done in a very clear plan, to operate the business like is in England. So that would attract the major corporations, investors, and the fans itself. The base was until then. And we have to say thank you for the ladies. Because the football in the United States, it started with the women.
They were performing better than the men. So
And the men, and they brought the passion, and the families got engaged, and they have a very good team.
So Alex, what you're saying, that women's football in the US attracted more fans compared to men's football?
Definitely, the male side of the activity of soccer, football in America is due, unquestionably, to the women, because they showed the passion. They showed how things could be done. They showed the engagement of the families, and then that brought the sponsors. And throughout the world, America export,
Yeah, true.
the idea of the female. Next 2027, the Women World Cup
In
will going to be
Brazil.
played in Brazil,
Yes.
which shows
32 teams.
yes, and the Brazilians are very excited about that, very engaged. In Brazil, we have very strong teams. Corinthians from São Paulo, which has the second largest fan base for male football in Brazil, has the best team. It always winning championship and plays in São Paulo. So it's a great excitement about expect. But regarding here in the U.S., I think that with the women factor here, brought the family, and with the family, the engagement of the corporations and the sponsors and all the aspects of management regarding the all levels that is required to make a successful franchise to be got into the same mode, and then it's a success that it will be. And there is no question about that you're not going to come in a short term, but in a middle term, the United States is going to be a force to be reckoned with. There's no
Really?
question about.
Because I still feel they still struggle to produce world-class footballers on the men's side of it. Yeah.
But why there's a reason to be hopeful that this will succeed. Same thing happened with Switzerland. The sons of immigrants, made what Switzerland now. About 2-3 years ago, the entire planet was marvelous. How is that come? Switzerland became this powerful, and then they're explaining, the sons and of the immigrants that immigrate to Switzerland, and then they grow up. They went to the camps, as young players, and they developed. And today, Switzerland has a great chance.
Well, Alexandra, before we talk about the FIFA Club World Cup, there's something you've hinted on, and you also hinted on it the first time we discussed, and I've heard several people talk about it. The clubs from Brazil. Why do clubs from Brazil think that they have the most number of fans in the world? Is there data to back this one up, or they just think that they are the most supported football clubs around the world?
Well, it's because of the passion that involves each team, and most Brazilians, they don't know why Flamengo is the number one in Brazil, and they and is the passion. If you go to a soccer game in Brazil, it's a different experience, and you as we have a conversation, you are invited to go there.
I have an open invite to go to Brazil,
and we'll travel extensively there to see the north, the south, the east, and the west, and you're going to see the same engagement, because Brazilians that have a chance to go to Europe and watch a Real Madrid and Barcelona, for example, but the game is going to be decisive to see who is going to be the champion. They come back and says, the guy is looking there watching an opera or the presentation of a theater show. There is no excitement. They applaud. You go to Brazil, man, you are in a party. There is no way that you're going to get out of there
they
with
bring
the same.
they bring the carnival to the stadiums.
Definitely, it's passion. It's a matter of honor. The fan base that scream the most, that participate the most, that bring the most excitement. It's unique, because it's life or death. It's you get really engaged in something, a level of excitement, that is contagious. You're gonna experience this in Brazil. You're gonna see how the prior to the game, it's already the party is going on. When the teams are there, it's hard to explain, you know, until you get there, until you are part of it. And you see that being there, no matter what, you are part of it.
Then Brazil has also been very dominant on the continent with the
So,
Copa Libertadores and all that. Brazilian teams have won the last 5 editions, and I think 7 of the last 8 editions. What is the
yes.
difference between Brazilian football at club level compared to the other clubs on the continent, River Plate, Boca Juniors, and from all these other countries?
I was reading today about that. And on my website today, the writer in Brazil wrote this, explaining very well why is the difference exactly about that, the point. Because Argentina used to be the dominant one.
At club level?
At the club level. If you see, and they Brazilian newspapers yesterday interviewed 4 well-respected journalists from Argentina and asked why is this difference now that Boca Juniors and River Plate has been eliminated at the stage
group
groups.
stages, yeah.
And they explain it is Argentina more than Brazil. The young talents are leaving to Europe. A couple of weeks ago, Real Madrid bought, you know, for a huge
Henrik.
amount of sum, the precious gem from River Plate. And now, Brazil, the same thing that happened between Europe and Brazil is happening between Brazil and the rest of Latin America and South America, which is economically, you know, the amount of money. For you to have an example, Brazil has so many tournaments, Copa do Brasil, the championship at all levels, 4 levels. Each one of them, Copa do Brasil, for example, pay more to the champion.
Oh.
More than the whole tournament in Argentina. So there is no way that Argentina can compete with Brazil on that scale, economically talking. And so the best players of Argentina, if they are not in Europe, they are in Brazil. You know, because Brazil pays
good money,
a competitive salary as in Europe. Of course, we're not going to talk about Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah,
that broke
at
the
another
records,
level.
different sums. But Brazil can compete with Europe, you know, luring young talents from Argentina, and that's a lot. Brazil now increased to 7 players. Used to be 3, became 5, now 7 players internationally that a squad can line up. So, and this is going to create more difference. And Argentina still have 1 more championship regarding Libertadores, but it's easily to remember that until the 80s, Brazil didn't pay attention to Libertadores.
Yeah.
Once Brazil really woke up and saw that at the competition in Tokyo, you know, the interclubs, you know, 1 from Europe, 1 from
the one of 7 clubs.
So Brazil is the dominant force right now, and that is no Argentina does not see a way that this will going to change anytime soon, because you have to see Buenos Aires has about 7 large clubs, you know, and but only 2 are really dominant. There's Boca Juniors and River Plate, you know. So that's the difference. But another thing to mention, what one of those journalists was talking about, the Argentina team that won in Doha, Qatar, the last World Cup.
That's where I was going, that the national team is actually performing better.
All the players other than the 3rd goalkeeper play in Europe. Only 1 play in Argentina. All the other ones are in Europe. Same thing happens. Brazil is not apt to that, but is the majority of players for Brazil play in Europe. And this create a lack of identity, you know, because used to be like when the World Cup used to finish, all the players would be on the same plane, winning or losing, and come to Brazil. Now they finish, they go vacation, you know, there's not a sense of commitment. And therefore, the fan base in Brazil now, they disassociate themselves with that passion. It's funny to say that because the passion for the club remains the same, but for the national team is not as used to be. Proud, of course, but is not the sense of engagement is not there.
Yeah, I really want us to get into the discussion of the FIFA Club World Cup, but let's get the Brazil discussion also out of the way. With what you've raised, you think Carlo Ancelotti will be the right man to change all that? Because if you want to win the World Cup again, be dominant again, so many things, like some of the things you've raised, have to be addressed for
Yes.
them to be able to be the force again.
Ancelotti, he has a great chance to bring a different level of competition to Brazil because he is used to manage the best players in the world playing for Real Madrid in a competitive league as is La Liga. And he also has this experience in Italy. And being in Europe, you know, and being a successful coach and bring the level of that a successful competition that he always had too. The players that he are calling and he will be calling, you know, gonna have a sense that they have to perform at the same level that they do in Europe, because they know that otherwise they're going to be relegated, you know, to a second squad. So he has a great chance because not only going to bring a different approach, you know, that the way that the player respond to the commitment that they have to have, they're gonna have to show, you know, that they deserve the being on the national squad because the number of players available are absurdly high, and every day Brazil produce so many. You know, we saw yesterday Manchester City Savinho, which was reviewed by Atlético Mineiro, my team. You know, at 7.
And the centre back, what's his name? The 19-year-old central defender.
It's
Still from Man City. Is it from Argentina? It's from Brazil. They have a 19-year-old central defender who has also been very impressive.
Yeah, I forgot his name. He's also, you know, a newcomer.
Yeah,
you know. So Brazil produced that same level of good players, you know, that in a way that like they have Esteban that was sold to Chelsea. You know, that is fantastic player, very, very young. So and there are new ones from Atlético Mineiro that Real Madrid wants to buy too. Barcelona is after them. PSG is after him. So, and the guy is just 17 years old. So Brazil produced the talents, but they need, you know, a management at a level that will teach them, you know, the discipline of how to perform, to explore the potential that they have and the talent that they bring up to the competition.
What is impressive, Brazil is a country of a population of 140 million, 225 million people. And of course, I've talked to just a portion of Brazilians here in the USA about Carlo Ancelotti. And for some reason, everyone has a lot of faith in confidence. You thought by being a foreigner, there would be mixed reactions. Some love him, others don't love him. But from what I've been able to gather just here during this competition, everyone has a lot of faith and confidence that Carlo is going to deliver.
Brazil, having won everything and being the club that would be the intimidator, you know, and the other club, you know, before the game starts, they knew that they had to prove themselves, you know, and if they beat Brazil or they tie with Brazil, that would bring them up to a level, you know, that respectability. And Ancelotti, he brings that to Brazil, the credibility that he had. Because one thing is for you to be the coach of Real Madrid, you know, the richest country, club in the world, you know, and they can buy any talent, and they have plenty of talent. But winning with those talents is the challenge. And he proved that he can do it. He knows how he can do it. And that brings credibility because a player not going to fool him. They know that he has the background. He knows the backing of the establishment, you know, that support that structure. So it's a matter of wait and see. But Brazil just got, you know, got the nomination to is already on the World Cup. Would be difficult not to be with the number of
Yeah,
increasement of
true.
the number of
Yeah.
clubs. But we are hopeful. For myself, I am. You know, I always believe in the glass half full.
Well, my dream World Cup final on the 19th of July at the MetLife Stadium is one that was played 31 years ago. Brazil versus Italy. I don't know how strong both those teams will be to get into the final. Why I want that Carlo Ancelotti has never coached a national team.
Never.
Even when you thought he should have coached the Italian national team, he was never given an opportunity. So I would love to see him at that level.
And you know what would be fantastic? Because his last game for the Italian team was against Brazil
As a player,
as a player.
interesting.
You know, so it's fantastic.
Well, Alex, let's get into our discussion. Of course, we've had so many topics. The FIFA Club World Cup, the new version, the expanded version, 32 clubs, group stages are done. What are your thoughts so far from what you've been able to watch?
Well, in the beginning, Brazilians were not very excited, you know, and
Why?
now because they are used to be used to the one in Tokyo. Okay, the Toyota
Yeah.
Cup.
Yeah.
One from Europe, one from South America.
One from Africa.
Then, yeah, but years ago was just those two teams,
yeah.
two continents, and then became they played in Morocco, they played in Middle East,
Yeah.
and even I believe in Japan.
Yeah.
You know, with the all continents, but it was like I think about 8 clubs only.
7 clubs.
7 clubs. Now are those 32. And FIFA, it always, and football now becomes so monetizing, and the economic way of squeezing more money and getting more money and squeezing the calendar. The players have to play more. And this generates a lot of complaints, you know, because there are too many games. Now it's hardly a day that do not have my website, which it lists all the games for you to give your opinion about the score are going to be. You have it every day, you know. So it proves. So with that, they said, well, there goes FIFA goes again, you know, trying to squeeze and to get more money in a way. When they showed that the tournament would be in the United States, it changed a little bit the perception that the credibility factor, you know, was going to be, because it would be an experience.
Yes.
You know, and 1 year prior to the World Cup, that would bring a sense of respectability to the competition. But the way that they selected the teams, it's gonna have to be perfected, you know, because
You don't believe in the qualification process?
the way that was done now, because it's based in
The
3 or
last
4
4
years,
years. Yeah.
you know, and 4 years, 2 years of football right now is an eternity.
You prefer they should stick to the rankings, maybe?
to the rankings, you know. At the competition level, the prior year, you know, like the ones that were the champions on the tournaments in their country,
Yeah,
and
for that
having a
particular
ranking.
year. Yeah.
Exactly. And I was reading today that Brazil offer, you know, for the next competition being Brazil, Morocco,
Spain, Morocco.
You know, so it's going to be nice to see which one are going to get it. And but already the discussion of things, because there are clubs in Brazil, you know, and they are in England. For example, Liverpool is not there.
Yeah.
Arsenal is not there. You know,
Because the rule is a maximum of 2 clubs per country, unless there are more clubs in that country that have won the championship in the last 4 years.
yes. So it brought, you know, a discussion, a whole discussion. For my club in Brazil, for example, is the third in the ranking.
On
you
the
know,
continent?
is the third in the ranking.
And Botafogo are ranked 12th.
And Botafogo, which was, you know, middle of nowhere, won
here.
last year, and they are here. They're playing well and everything. The 4 clubs qualified for this phase right now. But this is going to have to be perfected the way that they're going to bring clubs, from the continents, And I think that just Brazil and Argentina having those 6 clubs here does not show. I think that should have a club from Colombia, from Uruguay, even though they are not at the level that they used
So
to
you
be.
think the 6 slots for South America should be spread across the continent?
Definitely. Actually, 2 from Brazil, 2 from Argentina, and the other 2, because you have Uruguay in a competitive level, you have Colombia in a competitive level. Those two teams, they have tradition. Colombia has, is a well-respected power force in South America right now, more than Uruguay, more than Bolivia, than Peru, more than Chile. So Colombia right now, is at the club level, not with Brazil, but a club from Colombia playing an Argentina one, a counterpart from Argentina, does not bring the scare factor that it used to be. Colombia has more resource financially right now at this moment than Argentina clubs.
Now, still talking about that, because we have the group stages done, the round of 16, no club from Africa at the round of 16, 1 club from Asia. They had 4 at this competition. South America had 6. 4 of those are still in the competition from Brazil. Then all the other clubs are from Europe. Does this surprise you?
Yes and no, because it shows that the money factor is still play very strong. You see in Brazil, the game that's going to be played tomorrow is a game that
Palmeiras, Botafogo.
Botafogo, the continent that represent the huge fan base should watch that, because that says a lot. Because John Textor, the owner of Botafogo, is the same owner of Lyon, Olympique Lyonnais
in France.
In France, that was relegated.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are afraid that he'll do the same with Botafogo.
Really?
Because Botafogo, even though they won the national competition last year, the national level, and the Libertadores against my club, and I'm very upset in Buenos Aires. It is a totally surprise, because Botafogo is the ugly duckling, of the competition there, because it's does not the best players that made the team last years immediately after the championships was solved, they went to Europe. Almada from Argentina and Luis Henrique, from Botafogo, they went to Europe. I believe now is in Asia or whatever, or Turkey. I don't know where he is, but. But what makes the game excited tomorrow, and that we're going to be translated to the competition inside the pitch, and you should pay attention to this, is that John Textor is a billionaire from the US. He just sold Crystal Palace from England. And the president of Palmeiras, Leila, which is a banker, billionaire, the lady, both of them clashed because 3 years ago, Texas said that Palmeiras was getting the championship winnings because they were, pressuring the economical factor and pressuring against CBF, which is the Federation of Brazil, and that got very heated. She refused to go to Rio to attend a game between the clubs, and that translated in the competition inside the pitch. The players took that, seriously.
So you suspect it will be the same tomorrow?
Oh, that's bad blood. Bad blood, because they want to prove. They want to play for the management. Pride and everything apart. That the level of animosity between the management level and translate to the players. So it's when Flamengo against Bayern, Fluminense against Inter, it will be a great game. But everybody, especially because of the 2 clubs from Brazil, the bad blood, the competition level, the animosity, it's like, it's really you know.
I can imagine what's going on in the camps of those teams right now going into the game tomorrow.
Exactly, you're gonna see it. You know,
Mm.
it's they're gonna play as they it was the final. It will be great for the fans, you know, and for the tournament
Yeah,
itself.
true, without a doubt.
You know, because it will be a great game. You know, you should tell Africa continent for everybody to tune up to
No,
watch.
we're heading there. We're taking the first train to Philadelphia tomorrow. We must
So
be
you
part
know,
of the
you're gonna love it.
experience.
You're gonna love it. I'm pretty sure that
Yeah,
you will.
and of course, the thing about it is that one of those teams will be knocked out. The other goes into the quarterfinals.
Yes.
But that means that Brazil will have the other two teams, Fluminense, together with Flamengo. How far do you think these teams are going to go?
For I think that, and in my
Fluminense are
side,
playing Inter, and
yes,
then
I think that Inter will win. You
okay,
know, even though they were pretty much humiliated by PSG on the finals, they are a better team than Fluminense. And I think that Flamengo and Bahia, that was, before I saw the prediction of my site, I was thinking that this is a game that are going to be decided on the penalty kicks.
really
Flamengo and
extra time
Bahia.
and penalties. Yeah.
Flamengo and Bahia, you know. And Flamengo going to have a second semester right now very challenging because they are Libertadores, they are Copa Brazil against my club, Atlético, but they are selling, they already sold to Zenit in Russia, the best player in midfield with Gerson for 25 million euros. You know, and this player, once the tournament finishes here, he will go to Europe. So Flamengo will be, and the question right now there is if he will give 100%, you know, of effort for the game against Bayern. And even though the European clubs like Inter and Bayern, they are at the end of the season, they are tired,
Yeah,
and the
very
players
true.
want to go, but they got the rhythm. You know, even though the Brazilian teams also they are almost 6 months, you know, in the competition level. But I predict that if the Palmeiras or Botafogo, I think Palmeiras is going to prevail. You
Over
know,
Botafogo.
yeah, over Botafogo. You know, might go to penalty kicks. I don't know, but I think that Flamengo and Bayern they are more set. You know, the way the competition among them, they will go to penalty kicks.
Yeah, what have you heard? Do we have more Brazilians coming in because their teams are into the quarterfinals, especially Botafogo and Palmeiras? Do we have more fans coming in wanting to cheer their team so that it gets into the quarterfinals?
Yes, actually, the number of Brazilians living in the U.S. on both coasts, you know, where the major games going to be played, you know, it's enough to fill the stadiums many times. So at Flamengo fills easily, you know, and Palmeiras that is a great team too. Fluminense is a number of fans. But there's a lot of one thing that should be mentioned. There's a lot of Brazilians living here for decades that have not been able to go to Brazil because of their legal immigration status. So this is the chance for them, you
To
know,
go to
and
their teams.
especially with the fact that the immigration, you know, made a point of not being acting in the surrounding areas around the
The
stadiums,
stadiums, yeah.
so they are feel
Free to
comfortable.
come out.
Yeah,
To,
exactly. So you can prepare, you know, the games that involve Brazilians right now. The fan base is going to be engaged, and they are committing themselves to fill the stadium.
Yeah, of course, it's a discussion that cannot end without talking about Real Madrid. As long as Real Madrid are still in the competition, they are outright favorites to go there and to win it. And
Yes.
you're looking at their 3 games in the group stages, especially the last 2. They seem to be getting better each passing day. Their last game are playing a back 3, having Chichemi, one of the midfielders, are playing as one of the 3 defenders. And they're doing all this without their main striker, Kylian Mbappe, who the coach insists, Xabi Alonso, that they need him.
Yeah,
Meaning
exactly.
that if he's fit again, he will walk straight into the team. Real Madrid can't easily be written off.
Yeah, exactly. And not surprisingly, but it was long overdue. Vinicius, you know, is coming back and playing the role, you know, that they expect from him, especially Mbappe is not there, you know. But there's no question about my favorite to win the tournament is still
Is
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid. I
Yes,
think Real Madrid are everybody's favorite to win
yes, I
this
think so. The
championship.
the 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 the, the pride, you know, and the professionalism that that short, you know, bring, you know, the guy knows that he cannot give 95% only. He has to go
You,
100%.
you know their anthem, Hala Madrid, the Real Madrid anthem.
No?
Yeah, they have a song, or what you'd want to call an anthem. And at the Lincoln Field Stadium the other day when they were playing against Red Bull Salzburg,
Oh,
the DJ would play the anthem and the entire stadium is singing. And you're like, wow. You listen to this song every day, it is fun and all that, but then you get to experience it in real life when the fans are singing it with a lot of passion, others are crying. I first experienced it during the Champions League final in Wembley. That was in 2024, but that in that game against Salzburg, it was a totally different feeling, that atmosphere. So you feel for the players. I mean, you're hearing the fans are singing passionately, Hala Madrid and all that,
yes,
and you're like, there's no way I'm going to come in here and I don't give 100%.
exactly. I There is a perception and a belief, especially in Brazil, you know, that Domina is, even though Argentina is the main rival and everything, but Brazil, because of the size, because of the economical situation that they bring into the clubs, that is a perception that Europeans, they don't give much, you know, attention or value as should for those tournaments like the one that's happening here right now. But when get to this level right now, you know, squeezing up there, losing is losing. You know, the winning, we are supposed to win,
Yeah.
but losing is not nice. So it will bring, you know, a competition level from Chelsea, from Inter Milan, from Real Madrid, from Bayern. You know, those clubs, they don't want to be, you know,
Yeah, true.
like we don't care. No, you care. You have sponsorship.
Yeah, sponsorship, there's a lot of money at stake and all
Exactly.
that. You're professionals.
You have to sell shorts.
Exactly, yeah, you have to sell the shots. So, but Alexandra, I don't know. We need to have another discussion. Maybe in that discussion, you'll be letting us know how teams from Brazil manage, first of all, their things like sources of revenue, things they do to mobilize their funds, how they build the fan bases, the databases, and stuff like that. I'm sure that kind of information is the kind of information people who are watching us from different parts of the world, particularly Uganda, where I come from, would want to know, and maybe they can pick a lead for something. I shared videos with you
Yes,
how I
yes.
was blown away with the mini fun park that Palmeiras has set up at the American Dream Mall, where they came with their trophies, they set up activities, people would come in, take pictures and stuff like that. But what intrigued me the most, whoever was coming in was being requested to scan a QR code, and that QR code would take you to a form on their website where you fill in your details. By doing that, you are a fan being acquired. I did that, and I'm constantly receiving updates from Palmeiras. So, by default, I become a Palmeiras fan and stuff like that. And you want to feel that probably all the other clubs are also doing the same. So, we would want to hear it from you and learn from you how these things are done. Then, probably, if God eventually says, let's go to Brazil, we'll be able to experience some of these things firsthand.
Definitely, I have made contacts in Brazil, and I'm going there next month.
Oh.
And I will present to you very soon, you know, once I get in Brazil, a tentatively timetable, you know, because my group in Brazil, we are planning not only to advertise my website, which is dedicated only to soccer, you know, but we're going to bring you to all the venues in Brazil, you know, where the soccer is played at Serie A, you know, is the first 20 clubs. So you're gonna see not only a game on the stadium, but you're gonna see the training facilities,
Yes.
the management level, and then you can pretty much you're gonna have your assessment. You know how the competition level in Brazil goes, and not only that, you're gonna bring your perspective from the outside, from a person that has
Yeah.
been exposed
Yeah.
to different levels of competition in Europe, in Africa, and then you're going to see this in Brazil, and pretty much you're going to be able to pinpoint what they still lacking, what makes the difference, what are the positives and not so positive ways, that management level deal with the daily challenges that soccer, because it evolves on the 24
Yeah, true.
hours.
It keeps on revolving. Keeps on
Amazing.
revolving.
24 hours in soccer it's old news, So you're going to be able to see that by yourself, because you're going to be really in touch with the underworld, of the clubs. I'm going to be able to bring you, to experience this, and then you're going to your assessment is going to be complete
I
on
was
that
going to say
point.
we need to plan that trip around also the time of the carnival.
Oh, yeah. Then a lot of players are going to invite you. They're going to invite you. Say, no, Clem, you have to come with us.
We need to go. Which part of there is the carnival?
Is February or March, but you're gonna in Rio, Bahia, and Belo Horizonte, where I come from. So they are very, very nice. You're gonna like it.
Well, that's our discussion with Alexandria. I'll stay away from the other name. I'm still doing my practice, but I will do at least 1 or 2 more interviews with him before we leave the USA.
Definitely.
We really want to get to know how Brazil are doing their things and what has made them different. And maybe we can learn a thing or two. Clive Chaze is my name. The man behind the camera is a very good friend of mine, the one and only Ramzan Kahoza from Vision Group. We are here with him here in the USA. Covering the FIFA Club World Cup. Hope you enjoyed our discussion. You can leave a comment for us in the comment section. If you have not yet subscribed, yes, it will take less than a second to subscribe. But also, you can like this video if you enjoyed it, and feel free to share the link with those people that you think will enjoy the kind of discussion we are having.